opportunity, greater influence, and a life shaped deliberately rather than accidentally. This is not an exaggerated promise, it is the natural outcome of behavior repeated consistently over time. Continue clicking forward, continue acting with intention, continue honoring your decisions, and allow discipline to quietly deliver what motivation never could: stability, strength, clarity, control, and a future built by choice rather than chance. Take a slow breath and allow yourself to settle into this moment without rushing anything. There is nowhere else you need to be right now, nothing you need to solve immediately, nothing demanding urgency. Just this quiet space of awareness, this simple experience of being present. Sometimes we underestimate the power of slowing down. We move through our days reacting, thinking ahead, replaying conversations, anticipating outcomes, carrying invisible tension that rarely serves us. Yet clarity does not live in constant mental noise. Clarity appears when the mind is given space, when attention softens, when you stop pushing against the present moment. Right now, nothing extraordinary needs to happen. There is no miracle you must chase, no sign you must decode, no pressure to understand everything at once. Growth has never required intensity. Growth responds to steadiness. It responds to patience. It responds to consistent awareness. You may not always see progress clearly, and that is completely natural. Life rarely unfolds in straight lines. Some changes are subtle while they are happening. Some improvements form quietly beneath the surface long before they become visible. Like roots strengthening before the tree itself rises higher. You are allowed to move at your own rhythm. There is no universal clock measuring your worth, no hidden timeline you must obey. Comparison creates pressure, and pressure clouds judgment. Awareness clears it. Notice your thoughts without trying to control them. Thoughts will arise. Concerns will appear. Emotions will shift. This movement is part of being human. But you are not required to chase every thought. You are not required to believe every fear. You are not required to react to every internal impulse. There is strength in observation. Strength in stillness. Strength in allowing space between stimulus and response. Sometimes what feels like delay is actually preparation. What feels like uncertainty is often refinement. What feels like silence is frequently alignment happening beyond immediate perception. Not everything is meant to be understood instantly. And not everything needs to be. You may begin to notice something subtle within yourself. A quieter mental state. A softer emotional reaction. A steadier sense of presence. These are not small shifts. Calmness is not passive. Awareness is not inactivity. Stillness is not stagnation. They are forms of balance, and balance shapes sustainable progress. Consider how much energy is spent resisting the present moment. Wishing circumstances were different. Wishing results arrived faster. Wishing clarity appeared immediately. Yet resistance rarely accelerates growth. Acceptance stabilizes it. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means working with reality rather than exhausting yourself fighting it. It means conserving mental energy. It means allowing perspective to widen naturally. Right now, you are exactly where you need to be for this phase of your journey. Not because everything is perfect, but because this moment holds adjustments, lessons, refinements that cannot be skipped. Every experience contributes understanding. Every pause strengthens awareness. Every steady step shapes direction. You do not need constant certainty to move forward. Certainty is often temporary. Adaptability is lasting. Confidence is not built from knowing every outcome. Confidence grows from trusting your ability to respond wisely as outcomes unfold. That trust is strengthened through presence, through observation, through patience. Notice how much calmer decisions feel when urgency fades. When you allow situations time to breathe. When you give thought space instead of forcing conclusions. Clarity thrives in patience. Judgment improves in stillness. Perspective widens when mental pressure dissolves. Life rarely requires panic. It often requires steadiness. Notice your breath again. Steady. Reliable. Always available. No matter how active the mind becomes, the breath remains simple. It anchors you in something constant, something grounding, something undeniably real. Return to it whenever attention drifts. Each return is not failure. Each return is practice. Each return reinforces balance. Sometimes progress feels slow because growth is internal. Invisible. Quiet. Yet internal shifts influence external outcomes far more than sudden bursts of effort ever could. Consistency outweighs intensity. Patience outlasts urgency. Clarity surpasses pressure. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not missing anything meant for you. Life unfolds through alignment, not comparison. Through readiness, not rushing. Through awareness, not force. Allow yourself to release unnecessary tension. The tension of imagined timelines. The tension of expectations that may not belong to you. The tension of rehearsed worries about futures that have not yet arrived. Not everything requires immediate resolution. Not everything demands instant clarity. Some understanding emerges gradually. Some paths reveal themselves step by step. Some answers appear only when the mind becomes quiet enough to notice them. You may sense a subtle shift forming. Not excitement. Not dramatic motivation. But steadiness. Grounded confidence. Calm readiness. This readiness is powerful because it supports thoughtful action rather than impulsive reaction. It encourages balanced decisions Different life feels when you prioritize steadiness. When attention becomes intentional. When distractions lose their automatic pull. Fewer reactions. Clearer thinking. More deliberate responses. Balance does not remove challenges. Balance improves how you navigate them. You do not need perfect conditions to feel grounded. Grounding is internal. Stability is practiced. Clarity is cultivated. Return once more to your breath. Slow. Steady. Unforced. Let it remind you that calm is not something you wait for. Calm is something you practice. Awareness is not something you search for. Awareness is something you return to. Confidence is not something granted externally. Confidence is something built quietly through consistent presence. As you continue listening, allow this steadiness to deepen naturally. No forcing. No expectation. No pressure to feel anything specific. Simply remain here, aware, grounded, present. Because sometimes the most meaningful shifts are not loud transformations. They are quiet realignments, subtle adjustments in perception, gentle stabilizations of thought. And these shifts, though silent, shape everything that follows. As you remain with this steady awareness, you may begin to notice how naturally your mind starts to reorganize itself. Not because you are forcing calmness, but because stillness creates clarity. When mental noise softens, understanding rises without effort. You may realize that many thoughts which once felt urgent now appear lighter, less demanding, less absolute. This is the quiet effect of perspective. Nothing outside has necessarily changed, yet your relationship with your thoughts has shifted. And that shift is powerful. Presence does not eliminate challenges, but it transforms how you experience them. You begin to see that not every thought requires engagement, not every concern deserves energy, not every internal reaction must become an external response. There is freedom in this recognition. Freedom in choosing awareness over impulse. Freedom in allowing space before judgment. You may sense how much energy is conserved when you stop resisting every moment. Resistance often disguises itself as control, yet true stability rarely comes from force. Stability grows from alignment. From steadiness. From calm observation. Notice how different decisions feel when they are not driven by urgency. When the mind is not racing to predict outcomes or replay uncertainties. Clarity emerges more easily. Priorities become cleaner. Intentions become sharper. You begin to trust your own timing with greater confidence. Not the confidence of certainty, but the confidence of adaptability. Life has always been dynamic, always shifting, always unfolding beyond rigid expectation. The more you embrace this movement, the less tension it creates. You are not required to anticipate every possibility. You are not expected to control every variable. Your role is simpler, yet deeply effective. To remain aware. To remain grounded. To respond thoughtfully. You may begin to notice subtle improvements in how you carry yourself. A steadier posture. A softer internal dialogue. A calmer emotional rhythm. These changes may appear small, yet they reflect profound internal adjustment. Growth is rarely dramatic while it is happening. It is often quiet, gradual, nearly invisible. But its effects accumulate. Consider how consistency shapes transformation more reliably than bursts of intensity. Small steady shifts create lasting stability. Gentle awareness builds resilient clarity. Patience strengthens judgment. You may recognize that progress does not require constant effort. Sometimes progress is allowing integration. Allowing understanding to settle. Allowing perception to refine itself naturally. There is wisdom in pacing. Wisdom in observation. Wisdom in calm persistence. Notice again your breath. Always steady. Always present. Unaffected by mental complexity. It remains your anchor in moments of distraction, uncertainty, movement. Each return to the breath reinforces grounding. Each steady inhale stabilizes awareness. Each slow exhale softens tension. You may begin to feel more comfortable with silence. Not as emptiness, but as space. Space for thought to breathe. Space for perspective to widen. Space for clarity to emerge without pressure. Silence is not absence. Silence is capacity. The absence of noise often reveals understanding that constant stimulation conceals. You may notice how patience has subtly reshaped your perception of time. Moments feel less rushed. Decisions feel less pressured. Uncertainty feels less threatening. This shift is not accidental. It is the natural result of awareness practiced consistently. You begin to understand that calmness is not something achieved once. It is something revisited, reinforced, renewed through attention. There will always be movement in life. Always variation. Always change. But steadiness becomes your constant reference point. Your internal balance remains accessible regardless of external fluctuation. You are learning how to remain centered without rigid control. Focused without tension. Present without effort. This balance influences everything. Thought patterns stabilize. Reactions soften. Judgment improves. Energy becomes more sustainable. You may realize that clarity is less about finding answers and more about removing unnecessary noise. When distraction fades, understanding appears naturally. When urgency dissolves, intention sharpens. When pressure softens, perception widens. Remain here with this awareness. No rushing forward. No forcing conclusions. No demanding certainty. Simply observing. Simply grounding. Simply allowing steadiness to deepen. Because often the most meaningful progress is not dramatic transformation. It is quiet. to awareness, to return to responsibility, and to return to the part of yourself that knows you are capable of more than avoidance, more than excuses, and more than fear. More whole, not because everything is perfect, but because you are learning to accept yourself as you are while still believing in who you are becoming, and this balance between acceptance and growth is the quiet strength that carries you through uncertainty, reminding you that you are not lost, you are learning, not failing, you are evolving, and not alone, you are supported by your own resilience, your own awareness, and your own capacity to rise, again and again, with greater understanding and steadier hope. Faithfulness, the faithfulness to show up, to listen, to speak honestly, and to act with compassion, and in this faithfulness, the deepest form of loss is prevented, not by changing fate, but by honoring the present, and not by fighting time, but by using it wisely, because what truly keeps something alive is not hope alone, but attention, not intention alone, but action, and not emotion alone, but the steady choice to care before it is too late to make a difference. You stay present with what matters now. You act thoughtfully. You rest intentionally. You move forward with calm assurance. You continue to refine how you show up, calmer, clearer, more intentional. You don't rush growth. You respect its rhythm. You remain present with what's unfolding now. You move forward with care. You stay grounded in yourself. Let this calm support you. Breathe steadily. Moving whether you act or not, but only your actions decide whether you grow or remain where you are. This is not a warning to scare you, it is a reminder to empower you, to shake you awake, and to tell you that the power to change has always been in your hands. Start now, not because you feel ready, but because your future deserves your effort today. You walk forward knowing that you were created with intention, that you are capable of achieving more than you can currently see, and that the universe is preparing beautiful things that will align perfectly with your growth. You are meant to rise, meant to shine, meant to impact the world simply by being yourself. Continue your journey with hope in your heart and confidence in your spirit, because the best chapters of your life are not behind you, they are waiting ahead, and I am with you in every step you take. Stop making excuses and start making moves is the moment your life begins to change. You do not need permission, you do not need approval, and you do not need perfect conditions. You only need the courage to start and the strength to continue even when it gets hard, because it will get hard, and that is exactly why most people will never reach their potential, but you will, because you are no longer waiting, you are awakening. And when a person awakens to their power, nothing can stop them. Not fear, not failure, not even their own past. Remember that even stars cannot shine without darkness, and one day you will look back and realize that every setback was simply part of the setup for your comeback. Your dreams are calling you because they know you are capable, and the world is waiting for the moment you finally realize that too. Keep going with fire in your heart, possibilities in your mind, discipline in your actions, and faith in your steps, because the life you want is already on its way, and soon, everything will make sense. As this steady awareness continues, you may begin to notice a deeper sense of ease forming within you. Not because everything is suddenly understood, but because the need to understand everything at once has softened. There is a quiet relief in releasing that pressure. The mind functions differently when it is not forced. Thoughts become clearer. Perception becomes sharper. Emotional reactions become lighter. You may observe how naturally your attention begins to stabilize. Distractions still exist, yet they no longer pull with the same intensity. This is not resistance. This is balance. A calm mind does not fight noise, it simply loses interest in unnecessary disturbance. Notice how clarity often emerges not through effort, but through space. When you stop chasing conclusions, insight appears on its own. When you stop forcing certainty, understanding refines itself gradually. This is the rhythm of sustainable growth. You are not required to rush toward answers. You are allowed to let understanding unfold at its own pace. You may begin to sense how much of life improves when internal tension decreases. Decisions feel lighter. Reactions feel steadier. Even uncertainty begins to feel less threatening. Uncertainty, after all, has always been a natural part of forward movement. No path has ever unfolded with complete visibility. Yet progress continues. Adjustment continues. Learning continues. You are learning how to move without demanding guarantees. This is quiet strength. You may notice subtle shifts in how you interpret situations. What once triggered immediate reaction now invites observation. What once created stress now appears manageable. Perspective reshapes experience. Awareness reshapes perspective. The cycle becomes self-reinforcing. Calm attention produces clearer interpretation. Clearer interpretation reduces unnecessary tension. Reduced tension strengthens steadiness. Consider how much energy is preserved when you stop engaging with every passing worry. Many concerns dissolve when not fed by repeated attention. Many fears weaken when observed without attachment. This is not avoidance. This is discernment. The ability to choose where your energy flows. You may begin to appreciate the simplicity of presence. There is something profoundly stabilizing about focusing only on what exists right now. Not rehearsing future scenarios. Not replaying past uncertainties. Just responding to the immediate moment with clarity. Life becomes lighter when attention becomes intentional. Notice again your breath. Steady. Uncomplicated. Reliable. It continues without instruction, without pressure, without analysis. It reflects the natural rhythm of balance. Each slow inhale centers awareness. Each calm exhale softens residual tension. Return to it gently whenever the mind drifts. Each return reinforces grounding. You may begin to feel more comfortable with patience itself. Patience is no longer passive waiting. It becomes active steadiness.